Think Startup into driving down the vision of driving down entrepreneurship education within the schools so that we could actually enhance and optimize the way we learn in this generation and time. Okay, we have here the founder and the co-founder of Think Startup, Mr. Shivesh and Shivani. So let me introduce. So I think we can have self-introduction, sir. Let's make it more interactive. So I hand over to Mr. Hello. Yes. Sir, you are on mute. If you can unmute. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Siddharth. A quick introduction about me. I'm Sanjeev Shivesh and the co-founder of Think Startup. And this is the only thing that we are doing. We are bringing entrepreneurship education to schools, to colleges, and trying to make more and more young children realize their entrepreneurial ambitions and dreams.
Okay. So Shivani, introductions.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm a serial entrepreneur and currently co-founder at Think Startup. We've been working for the last 2 years in the space of entrepreneurship education for schools, as Shivesh mentioned, and really looking forward to this interactive discussion with all of you on NIEPP. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I go to Mrs. Amrita. Okay, let's start with Mrs. Pooja. Ma'am, let's start with the introduction from you.
Yeah, a very good morning, everyone. What a great platform to share thoughts and ideas. Thank you for inviting us. I'm Pooja Puri. I'm principal of Manav Rachna School in Gurgaon. And I have over about 35 years of experience, in which about 20 years of experience as principal and other administrative services. And I have been closely associated with CBSE also. Thank you. And I look forward to a wonderful session. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, I go to Mr. Partha. Sir.
Good morning, all present on this platform. Yeah, I do second that what Madam Pooja has expressed, that it is a good platform where we can understand, first of all, because maybe we are a bit old and like you people who are very young and they are trying to take the different innovation or activities, you can say. So you can learn a lot, but definitely as we are going with the experiential learning, etc. So there also you can give some inputs as far as school education is concerned. Regarding me, I am in the capacity of principal. I'm working in Delhi Public School, ONGC Nazira. It is far from Delhi, in Northeast. We are trying, if I give just a couple of words regarding this. Yeah, we are nowadays learning the things, what I can say, be it as principal, be it as teacher, and that we are trying to put in front of all stakeholders, particularly to children. As far as innovation and entrepreneurship, I think these are very, very new terms to, particularly the entrepreneurship is a very new term. We know the vocabulary of this kind of things, but what way it should be assimilated in the school system, that is a big, big question. So how we can keep this word in the actionable mode in front of students, in front of management, in front of parents and society in general. So looking forward that the interaction and what way we are trying to keep our children abreast so that after 10 years we can find some change in our education system. Hoping good interaction through this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I go to Amrita.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, definitely,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so sorry for the technical glitch earlier. I was not able to unmute myself. So I logged out and joined again. Good morning, everyone. This is Amruta Prabhu. I am the principal of the HDFC school, which is located in Pune. And I would like to thank the CBSE and Think Tank for giving us this opportunity for interacting on this very important, I would say, pertinent policy discussions, because I feel this is the need of the hour, and it is indeed a very progressive on part of our national board to think of getting the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship into the school system. Because as we interact with our students, especially from the secondary and the senior secondary grades, we have also seen through the program of the school innovative ambassadors and such that there are many students who have wonderful ideas, and they would definitely know how to gestate them and take this further. And we as educators would like to know that what is the best path, because we as students, when I was a student, I'm sure we did not have these kind of opportunities. Forget about thinking of taking it forward. So I am really happy that today we can provide it to the next generation, that is the Gen Z, and they have so much to give back to this country, I would say, to the world also for that matter. And today's, I would say, discussions would be one of the first steps which we are really looking forward. In my school, if I say that per se, definitely we've had a mini Shark Tank kind of an event where the senior secondary students have come up with ideas. So I am looking forward that how further we would be as educators and leaders be able to inspire our students further. So a lot of expectations, a lot of hopes, and once again, thank you so much that I have got a part to be of such a wonderful interactive audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome you here. I go to ma'am Rajni Gupta.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Rajni Gupta. I've joined here from the HDFC School, Gurgaon, and I am a commerce faculty there. I am looking forward to this session. I'm sure we'll have a lot of takeaways from here, and I would thank everybody for this opportunity. I hope this will help us make a difference in the lives of our students. Thank you so much, everybody. Looking forward. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. Welcome you here. I go to ma'am Shipra.
Hello all, good morning everybody present here. I am Shipra Agarwal. I teach economics in the HDFC School, Gurgaon, and I'm happy to be invited here to be part of this discussion, and looking forward. And yes, I Rajni ma'am say, so that we can make a difference in the lives of our students. We conduct some inter-school competitions and some in-house through clubs and activities, such kind of like innovation and boosting entrepreneurship skills among the students. So looking forward to further taking this to another level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome you here. And I go to ma'am Priyanka Singh. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Priyanka Singh this side. I am headmistress at Manav Rachna International School, Noida, and I am into this profile from past 6 years, and I'm associated with the education industry from past 19 years. So right now in my learning journey, I've been a teacher, I've been a coordinator, I've been a headmistress, and looking into the administration also of the school. And in the entire journey, came across with a lot of activities that we keep, incorporated in the we keep incorporating in the journey of the child also, coming up with the conclusion that these children, they have a lot of great ideas to put it up across, but we were little lack in the ways and the means how to provide them with. So I'm looking forward for a wonderful session here. I'm sure we are going to take away a lot of things here, and definitely we're going to incorporate the practical aspect of the same. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Welcome you here. Now at last I go to ma'am Shireen. Ma'am, you can please introduce yourself and then we can get started.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. I, Shirin Lakhani, Commerce faculty from the HDFC School, Pune. Yes, I would like to add on with our principal, ma'am, Ms. Amruta Prabhu, that she had said that this is a great opportunity what we are getting over here. And yes, we have initiated the entrepreneurship program in our school already, but yes, yet to see more in our school and with our students who can really go to their finance level through this platform. So looking forward to get more opportunities from this platform. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now let's get started, all the principals. And I hand over the stage to Mr. Shivesh. Sir, you can take over and let's start a very interactive, very innovative discussion, and feel free to share your thoughts about its implications, about its importance in this particular round table. So,
right, friends, good morning, and thanks for sparing time today to be here for this discussion. And the main theme of the discussion is the new policy framework which has been circulated by CBSE. It has been drafted by the Innovation Cell of Ministry of Education, Government of India, and there were consultations there, and a lot of things have been incorporated, and we were amongst the various agencies who were part of those consultation process. And today the policy is in its draft framework, which is inviting suggestions from all the stakeholders in terms of way forward. Now, what I'm going to do is over the next 10-12 minutes, give you a quick overview of what the policy is talking, why is it there, and what are the implications for new age schools. I can see on new age schools, when I heard the principals speak, it was like a fresh wave of thoughts. We all want to change, right? And we are the people out there who are willing to make a difference. Now, essentially, if you think in terms of why this policy is there, right? And there could be various similar policies, but I think today the NIEPP is perhaps the most comprehensive thought process which has come. It looks at all the things in a more holistic manner and lays down the roadmap for setting for innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in schools. So that's it. But if you think in terms of why it is there could be various reasons. But in my mind, there are two reasons which comes to my head immediately. And basically, the world has changed, and the kids have also changed. So from all the schools that you're coming today, children are learning much faster things, and they are learning things which are not being taught at schools. And perhaps those are the things where their passion lies, and that's where they are, right? So technology is driving this big change, and maybe the formal education system could be lagging the societal change. And that's what Bill Gates, maybe 30 years back or 25 years back, he wrote this book called Business at the Speed of Thought. And he had about 100 ideas. And one of the things was how technology is going to disrupt the way we are thinking and how education will change in days to come. Now, the other thing which is there is this whole thing around sustainable development goals. So the world has, only so much of resources, right? And if there are only so much of resources, then how do we make the resources last longer for the next generation? Because today, when we are doing this discussion on NIEPP, it's only for the young minds, the next generation, and the generations thereafter. Now, all this is possible only if we, nurture minds which are innovative and can come up with solutions. Right, so that's one aspect of one of the reasons why we think that NIEPP is there, and the other is all of us we will certainly agree that India as a whole today is harboring this ambition of 21st century is India's century. Not only Indians as such, right? It's not just Narendra Modi's India, right? It's what Jeff Bezos recently, last 2 years back when he was in India, he said that the 21st century is going to be India's century, right? And all of us really aspire that this is going to be India's century. Now, if that is true, the real question is, can a country become a superpower if it is not a powerhouse of innovation? So that's a real hard question, right? Think of how economies have developed, whether it was Britain's century in the 18th century or American century in the late 19th and 20th century, or China riding on top of the world. Each of these economies, they have become superpower riding on a wave of innovation, right? So that's the real hard question for us as a society, that can we ever build a social structure where innovation is encouraged, and we really push our next generation to go for innovation. And all of us know that innovation and entrepreneurship is not easy. It's a risky phenomenon. Now, unless society does this journey together, it's going to be impossible, which means that there has to be a paradigm shift from this padho, 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 or exam, exam, exam. My son is taking class 10th exam, and I can hear these dialogues going on, right? My mom lives, my wife lives, my elder son is there, and everyone sort of is pushing this message, marks, 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 lana zaruri hai, all this sort of stuff, right? So that is what is there. And then we have all this thing that we are creating a whole lot of generation of young students where we are saying that you are good only for this. तुम शायद इंजीनियर बनने के लायक हो, तुम डॉक्टर बनने के लायक हो, तुम्हें कॉमर्स में जाना चाहिए, etc., etc. Now, these are the stuff which is, in our opinion, holding the society back, right? And that's the broad struct or the background in which why national innovation and entrepreneurship promotion policy becomes more relevant. Now, before I move forward, I have another English question for the educators, right? And we have been researching, and all of you would agree, right? What happens to creativity with age, right? So there's been a big study by NASA, right? It lasted for a longer period, right? And they said that most people in the age group of 4 to 5, they have Einstein-like IQ, and that IQ keeps on declining with age. And if you see, the biggest decline is from 4 to 5 year to 10-year-old, and from 10 to 15-year-old, right? So that's the sharpest decline. And those are the time periods when most of us are spending time in school, and then inherently something is going back. School mein kya ho raha hai? Why is creativity declining in school? Now, without saying too much about it, I think, in my opinion, it is the forces that play in society which is at work, and which is sort of causing this sort of decline in creativity with age, right? And if that is so, the message for us as educators is, what could we do to push this creativity curve up? Because if we have kids coming to us, to the school, with 98% level of Einstein kind of IQ, can we really sustain it rather than allow it to decline, right? So that's the one teaser that I'm leaving for you. And now I move ahead into the policy framework of NIEPP. So NIEPP says that we should develop, they have pointed about 8, 9, or maybe 10 skills, and these skills are easy to guess. It's around innovation, creativity, empathy, problem solving, entrepreneurship, learning to accept from failures, better communication, do real world stuff, etc., right? So that's the broader goals that the NIEPP seeks to achieve. Now, what do we mean by creativity? What do we mean by innovation? What do we mean by empathy? And I think some of those questions are largely unanswered there, right? But there are guessworks around what would the term creativity mean for a 10-year-old, and what would it mean for a 14-year-old, and what would it mean for a 19-year-old. And we at Think Startup, we have been doing this work for a seriously long time in understanding what creativity at different age group or class group essentially means. And we have been Shivani is there, and she's going to talk about it, whatever we have done. Now, in terms of the policy framework, and essentially, if the government and CBSE and all the regulators are aspiring, and we as educators, we are aspiring for this change, then there are a number of stakeholders, and I have color coded into three color categories just to highlight where policies address and where policies sort of relatively quiet, right? So yeah, it's a learner-centric world. We want a learner-centric new education, which should focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. Faculties have to, teachers have to play a greater role, because it's a partnership between student and teacher, and institutions like school, and there could be collaborators like us who can play a larger role. Now, in this journey, there has to be a significant involvement of curriculum designers, and all of us have to really work together to play an important role there. And perhaps policy is not spoken too much about it, right? There's a larger role of parent and community, and I think it's very important that community engagement and parental engagement is brought early on into the discussions. And you as school would be have been asked to put a response to this, right? And we don't involve parents today, the response would only be, as much, right? And today, the sooner we involve parent and community into it, I think it's easier for change to happen. And the last part of it, which I put in red, is the whole thing around assessment frameworks. And I think the policy is really, really silent around it. And the whole assessment framework methodologies really have to change if we really need to bring a new generation of innovators, creative thinkers, problem solvers in the society. So that is the stakeholder framework. And if you look at, if you would have had time to glance through the policy circulated by CBSE, it talks about 6 foundational pillars. And in this, on the screen, you can look at the 6 foundational pillars. It's mindset change, awareness and training, hard and soft skills to nurture innovation, incentives and motivation for teachers, innovative pedagogy, then school and community collaboration. And this community collaboration is a different community collaboration from what I meant, really. And then student-led startups. So those are the 6 foundational pillars. But within those pillars, I have highlighted some points, and I'm going to talk about those points. So under the pillar called mindset change, schools have been tasked to create an innovation toolkit, and it has to be published on the website of the school, right? So whenever the policy gets accepted, every school will come up with the innovation toolkit, and they have to publish it on the website, right? And which means that if I am leading the school, then today I have to start thinking how it's going to happen. And what does the whole thing innovation toolkit essentially mean? Then the government is very keen that there has to be innovation stroke entrepreneurship ranking of schools. And in that sense, we have done some bit of work, and we're going to talk about it. Maybe Shivani, you can talk about that piece of work around Youth Edithon that we did, right? In terms of hard and soft skills, essentially it's about the infrastructure that we are going to create. So all of you today would have something called a tinkering labs, but it has to build up on the tinkering labs, because from tinkering to innovation to entrepreneurship is a journey. And I think the work which has gone into the building of tinkering labs, it has to be scaled up, and it has to be taken deeper, right? And where a lot of involvement has to happen, right? So we have teachers of commerce and economics coming, joining this discussion. But if you look at all the things which goes under the heading of tinkering lab or idea lab or prototyping lab, it would be pertinent to include teachers of science and technology into the discussion, right? Because idea can come from any field, and those ideas have to be developed into a service or a product and that's the work which has to happen. So there are things like Idea Lab, Prototyping Lab, pre-incubation center, digital libraries, and those things have to be catered. And we at Entrepreneurship School, we have created a product which is called Entrepreneurship Lab. Right. So, and then the softer thing is to create a mentor pool, which is a combination of in-house and external mentors. So teacher mentors, when I say in-house mentor, it could be teachers mentors, it could be from the administrative side, people who can become mentors, who can be the part of the mentor pool, and then involve people around the locality of school who can become mentors, right? Then the third pillar is about motivating teachers, right, and creating incentives for teachers to run this policy, because without teachers, nothing can happen, right? Which means that schools have to get into CPDs, right? And we are actually now working with Center to create some of the CPD modules for schools. So the upskilling of teachers on teaching innovation and entrepreneurship has to happen, right? So last year we had about 5,000 odd teachers who we worked with on teaching entrepreneurship in classroom, right? And then the investment in EdTech and massive online book platforms is what the recommendation is there. The fourth pillar is about innovative pedagogy, and I want to spend about a minute there. And this is again going back to the educators, teachers, right? So the pedagogy which was adopted to teach, let's say, chemistry or history or geography or any other sciences or English is not going to work when it comes to teaching innovation, right? And even when I spoke about Idea Lab and Prototyping Lab and those things, essentially, I was trying to say that innovation and entrepreneurship is a horizontal skill where the combination of teachers from science, technology, economics, commerce, everyone have to come together to build that innovation ecosystem inside the schools. The policy is not very, firmly talking about it, but this is the learning that we have had in the last 10 years of our work teaching entrepreneurship and running an incubator in Gurgaon. So that's our learning, and the sooner we bring this cross-disciplinary learning models into the classroom, the better it would be. So imagine a classroom where a history teacher is challenging a physics teacher. Right? I'm not saying physics teacher challenging history teacher. And it could be significant learning for the student if they are sitting in that classroom. Now, those classrooms, it has to be built. We have to really think about those pedagogies and those stuff. Only then we can build a generation which is ready to solve real life problems, take risks, learn from failures, and those sort of stuff. So a whole lot of thinking really needs to get into that pillar. Right. Then it talks about school community collaboration, and the policy is saying that अगर आपके school के पास कोई startup हो तो उनको आप collaborate करने के लिए ले आइए. I think the opportunity for community collaboration is far higher than just asking startups to come. The most important role that school can play today is to engage community for this change, because community is really sleeping. Right. And most big change actually comes from educators like us. Right. So schools can drive those change, bring parents for parental workshops, and only then this change will happen. Otherwise, this change will take about another 10 years. And by that time, Bangladesh is really growing faster than India, right? And we can have more entrepreneurship labs coming in Bangladesh than India, right? So we really have to be drivers of change. As educators, we really have to drive this change and involve community. And I think the policy is not very, vehemently or forcefully talking about it, right? And the last pillar is again very interesting. I would say it is transformative. It's a dynamic shift in thinking, and what the regulators are thinking is time has now come when we can have school student-led startups, right? And Shivani and I, we have been working this space for. Good morning. So Shivani and I have been working in this space for quite some time, and we struggle with youngsters, a 14-year-old who is building some innovative stuff, or uski company register nahi hoti hai, right? So if we have to build this whole culture of student-led startup, I think there are some ramifications on the legal side which has to happen. But we have been able to create workarounds, bring their mothers, as the founders of those companies or the directors of those companies, and work with these this group of mother and child, and worked with them for 3-4 years. And one of our students who started working with us at the age of 15, today he's 18 and he's now become director of the company. And I was the nominee director. I have moved out. So that's those kind of structures which have taken place. So essentially, what policy is saying, time has now come to create this ecosystem of student-led startups. Now, student-led startup in school cannot be without teachers being there. So policy is now saying that teachers can also be given equity in those startups. So if I'm the mentor or the teacher, or if I'm using the lab of schools, then there could be a licensing of lab and minor equity to the school and the teacher, and a whole lot of ecosystem, right? So it's talking that we can create a special purpose vehicle, and we at Think Startup, we have been able to create those special purpose vehicles. So today we have a few young students who are part of those SPVs, and their ventures are getting incubated with us, right? So the framework is also talking about, there's good news that teachers who really like these startups, they can take sabbatical and then come back after having built those startups back into teaching. So a lot of flexibility is now being thought through in those policies. Now, in terms of stages of school, right? So NEP today talks of 5+3+, right? So that model there, it's there, 5+3+3+4, right? Now, this policy is saying, forget the foundational stage, but this policy is saying that we really need to bring entrepreneurship teaching right from class 3, right? So, and believe me, last year, Shivani and me, we were creating curriculum for class 4, then schools were not really ready. So we said, okay, class 6 to class 12, and we created the whole curriculum and courses and everything, year-long stuff. But today, policy is saying that class 3 se shuru hona chahiye, right? Build innovation clubs inside school. Start project-based learning, right? And some of you are already could be doing project-based learning, right? And have innovation days. So that's something which is there early on, and that thing is now it stretches, into the middle school, and then it goes into the secondary stage. Now, what at the higher grade school, the policy is saying that minimum 2 hours of tinkering, product development, prototyping, ideation, wo per week karna hai. Right? Create frameworks of students in residence, right? So in the corporate, in the colleges, we have something called EIR, entrepreneur in residence, and policy is not talking so much, but essentially it's saying that student in residence. And they are saying that this means that create what do you call internship opportunities and those sort of stuff. But I think there are various extrapolations of SIR which is possible. Set up innovation council inside the school, designate a teacher who will be anchoring innovation and entrepreneurship in school, create ideathons and award framework, create mentor network, create build angel fund network. So Think Startup again as building angel fund network, and create programs around financial literacy and legal literacy for young minds, right? So now if you add up all these things and add this up again with physics, chemistry, social studies, English, math, etc., there is, the time period management becomes important. So I come to the last part, another 2 minutes, and then I shut myself up, leaving 1 or 2 questions for all of us. Right. So what are the key operationalization points? Number 1, we have to designate innovation, ideation, entrepreneurship leader in school. So a teacher has to be nominated, right? Schools have to train mandatorily 5 teachers on the theme of ideation, design thinking, product development, intellectual property, finance, and sale. Now, if you think of these 5 topics, it's not just commerce, right? So many schools where we go, we have said that commerce teacher isko karenge. Or khas karke 12th mein a subject on entrepreneurship has been introduced. Again, it has its own confusions around it. But if we really need to build a good innovation stroke startup culture inside school, it is going to be a cross-functional team which has to be set up. Item number 3, which is for everyone, and I want your attention, is from the budget of the school, you'll have to create an innovation fund. Now that's something which the policy is very categorical. Then it says that you need to have incubator partnerships, and there are various combinations possible, and time permitting, we can talk about it, or we can have another round of discussion as we move forward. And as I said, interesting concepts like teachers can get equity, teachers can get sweat equity, and those sort of stuff. Teachers can take sabbatical, and that sort of framework which is there. So these are the things. With this, I go shut. And before I go shut, I leave these two questions for all of us to deliberate. And this is around: what challenges do you foresee? What opportunities do you foresee? And what are the support which is required to make this policy work? With this, I go quiet. Thanks very much for patiently listening to me. I'm stopping sharing my screen.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I think we should now share our thoughts, that what are the implications? How do we foresee this kind of policy, and what are the challenges that our individual schools see, that, how can we, that what are the challenges, and how do you foresee this kind of a policy for your school, and what are your thoughts on this? So I think let's hear it from all the educators and the principals here. So I think let's go in a model that we raise our hands in the Zoom, and we go one by one.
I think anyone can speak. If you have anyone can get started.
Definitely.
Mr. Sarkar, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sanjeev. It's a very nice presentation. In a capsule, you have put everything there, that entire the 36 pages draft policy. So thank you very much. Yeah, the point that we are discussing here, definitely challenges will be there, are there. First point, it is very, very pertinent, that change in mindset. If I take my school, and we all together in the school setup, first of all, year before, when it was started from CBSE side, Ministry of Education and Innovation Cell, that training of teachers, spoke, etc., etc. So we have started the training of faculty. As very rightly you said, that who will take that lead? So teachers, they need to. So that part we are trying to complete. Teachers are undergoing some training, etc. Second part, if we take in our school setup, that in the student council, after 2 long years, we could start that. Earlier it was called that ICT club. Now we are renaming a little bit. We are trying to make that guidelines bit clear in consultation student, naming it as Innovation Cell or Innovation Council. So there we are putting students, and initially we have started 9 to 12, but definitely after this discussion, we are trying to take it down the line up to 3rd standard, so that we can make smaller clubs in the respective level, 3 to 5, then 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and then we can club it there. And third point, we must say that as far as the lab, suppose you talk, we have computer lab, very honestly speaking. We have resource center. We have internet connectivity in the resource center. But this digital lab, auto tinkering lab also, it is in the nearby school, it is present. But strengthening this part, this is a challenge. If I talk about the challenge, this is one of the biggest challenge that we are finding in the remote area. ATL is there, but who will run the ATL? Means how to strengthen it, how to staff it, because we need that mentor who will be guiding. Teachers are learning, MOOC is all right, but when it comes to the real picture, how we can take out best from the students. In a 40 students class, many students are having some ideas or something like that. Basically, when we are taking the curriculum, syllabus, then other things, it is our day-to-day routine work. Within that, how to assimilate, that is the biggest question now to the faculty. That is the challenge if we talk about. When it comes to the community, we are trying to reach out to parents. We have started already through online mode, through offline mode. Both the ways we are trying to. And fund, etc. Honestly speaking, we have not so far discussed, because the school can little bit contribute to it, so that we are trying to earmark in the subsequent budget there. That's all from my side. Just one more suggestion from my side, that guidance, as we talk about, it requires some kind of mentorship, some kind of guidance also. So if we talk in this way, that okay, teachers are groomed, teachers are through capacity building program, etc., upskilling, these are okay. But when we are getting some suggestion or ideas from students, do we need to screen? Suppose in a 40 strength class, 10 students are coming. Now, it may not be group wise, it may be individual. And as we said, that innovation, not necessarily it will be group wise. It may be the single mind can think about it. So there, the concerned teacher may not be equipped to guide in that, or in that particular project or that idea. So there, we need some resources, open resources, be it from CBSE, or maybe, as you have suggested, some startup in the locality or in that vicinity, if you can find. So that I would request through you to CBSE, the regional office or the regional center, if such kind of cell also can be set up at the regional level, so that school will have a better accessibility into that. Yes, this is our idea, and it may be a very wild one, and that faculty will certify that one, or will motivate students to further fine tune it, and then that concerned office or the person or the mentor will further guide on it, so that it will have effectivity, and in turn that particular child or maybe the group, they will be motivated to take it into some prototype level, etc., like that. So as of now, I can put this one. Maybe in the during this progression of this session, we can further discuss and deliberate on it. Thank you.
So may I take the next turn to put up my points?
Definitely, ma'am.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Sakar. Taking it further, I just want to put it across is that I'm associated with Manav Rachna institutions. And we started this way back about 4 to 5 years as InnoSkill. That's a kind of program we run where the innovative practices of children are taken forward and their skills are on very well. So we put up a lot of things like that. We consider the STEAM into consideration, STEM section, and we have a tinkering labs where right from grade 1, children are into the critical thinking, innovations. So it's almost there. We have already triggered the minds of children as well as the other stakeholders, our parents and community, I would say. But now the major challenge is, as CBSE says, that we have to actually weave it into our curriculum. That's where we want that the hours to be given to this particular thing is very, very important. How many hours we dedicate. Although we as Manav Rachna institutions, we have already given them about 1.5 hours to 2 hours in a week. They are working on all those things. But still it is a challenge that children aren't coming forward. So what I want to suggest is let's have lots and lots of parental engagements where they pitch in their ideas, because we are placed in Gurgaon, a place like Gurgaon where there are lots and lots of startups. I think we can take those parents who have started their startups and get them to the institution, let them talk about it and make things easier for children that, yes, it's not a very difficult task. We can do this. So that's how our children will get motivated. And we as educators sitting out there can actually empower them, give them facilities like labs. Our faculty members, as There's sir also suggested, Mr. Suresh, that yes, the faculty members can work as their mentors. This is how we can take it forward. It's not something which is impossible. It's just that managing resources for what we have got and what we can procure from outside. That's what I just want to enter into, because it is not a difficult task. I have lots and lots of entrepreneurs in my school. That's a very little small task they do. They make vertical gardens at home in their societies, or they just go help community helpers, and they feel that yes, that's how we can bring about a lot of change in the ecosystem. They go help out in their father's business also during the internships, right from grade 8. So they're learning how this entrepreneurship can come. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. And I think that was a really great kind of pointers for all of us to think and to also write it down. That, I think these are a couple of very innovative and very good ideas. I think we can actually incorporate it into our operations, and let's see, the goal is to motivate the students and drive it down more effectively. We have someone new join. So I go to Ma'am Aruna. Can you please introduce yourself? Aruna ma'am, if you are able to hear me, can you please introduce yourself? We have had the first round of introductions when this roundtable started. I think you missed out on that, so we would love to actually go with your introduction, ma'am. Okay, I think there is some network issue. I think let's just continue the roundtable. So I believe there are some economics and commerce teachers also here, and I think we would want to hear from them, from their kind of point of view, that what do they feel, how do they feel that this kind of policy and whatever we have talked about in this policy so far, the implications, the benefits, and the challenges. What do they have to say? I think let's hear from them. Ma'am Rajni, I think you are taking the comments.
You asked my introduction. No?
Ma'am Aruna, yes.
You asked me anything? I couldn't get it your voice clearly. You asked me anything?
Yes, ma'am. I asked you to introduce yourself because we have had the self-introduction initially. Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So thank you. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So that is located at Rohini. So once again, I'm Aruna from Himalaya Public Senior Secondary School, principal of the school. Anything introduction you require?
Ma'am, thank you so much and welcome you here. We have had a very good productive round of discussions over the last half an hour, and we'll share the updates with you definitely, ma'am, of whatever you have missed. Okay, so I go to Ma'am Rajni.
Really a wonderful job you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much for actually participating. I go over to Ma'am Rajni. I believe you are from the commerce faculty there, right?
Yeah, thank you, Siddharth. Hi, everybody again, and thank you for the insight. This was really nice to listen to all of you. I just wanted to add to a few more points. Of course, mentoring the mentors would be very, very important, I believe. So once we know how we can train our students on this, we'll be definitely able to take it further. Then I feel, motivating the students to get into this. Of course, they have ideas, they have super brains these days, but then monetizing them will also be important, especially if I'm from the commerce background. I know money will be a very important factor. So we'll have to see how we can help them to, to create something as an idea and to get it actually monetized and workable will be a challenge for us. We'll be working on it. And I'm sure as a good collaborative team, we'll be able to find out some good solutions to this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for your insights. Do we have anyone else who would like to share your thoughts?
Yes, Siddharth, this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Dr. Amruta. Firstly, I would like to thank Mr. Shiva Sanjeev. He has, Shivesh, I think, I'm sorry. He has rightly put the information about how we need to develop the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in the school. In fact, the policy is, I think he has explained it quite explicitly, but a few thoughts like previously few of my educators who spoke before also mentioned that whether it is mentoring the mentors or whether it is creating the parent cell or whether it is, creating this culture of innovation in schools, even setting up tinkering labs for that matter, we need to have some kind of constructive hand holding if it happens from the CBSE side or from the TANG side, and it would be in a consistent manner. So that would help us to be self-assured that yes, we are on the right path. Yes, the budgeting will be done by the schools, by the school managements, and they would love to take it forward because this is the demand of the day for the students today. But a very essential thing is that if we start working on that, we also need to have some checkbacks and a checklist kind of a thing. So feedback kind of a thing is essential, that whether we are following the right track, and if somewhere we tend to digress, how do we come back on track again for any stakeholder that would be. So I feel that we do have a lot of students who have it in them, and I think it is the need of the hour that we need to come up with such cells. But like you said, that the school needs to develop an innovation policy, and then it needs to be put up. Besides the commerce faculty, it should also be the science and other faculties who should be involved. And I'm completely game on that. The only thing is that if there is somebody, some central figure, some personnel who are involved in it, or some agency which is involved in it through CBSE, who would be hand holding the schools at least, who are ready to take this initiative forward. So I think that would be a great support. I would say more than just any other support, it would be more like a moral support. And also we feel that yes, we have somebody to fall back upon in case if we feel it's not working, or maybe the parents need to be guided further, or the students, or the teachers for that matter. So at every step you have some senior experienced mentors whom you can look up to. So I sincerely feel, because at our school also, like I said earlier, we have started it at a very nascent level. The club is there, the hub is there, and the buzz is there. But then how do we really take it forward? We would need guidance as a school on this. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Siddharth.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And in fact, yes, I think monitoring the progress and monitoring that whether we are on the right track is very much important. And, at Think Startup here, our vision is actually to work with schools and, drive this, how do I say in a very, summarized form, the future of the learning, right? The future way of the learning, the future approach of the learning, right? To means adapt with times, right? I think the ideas that all these young students have, I think we all should work on making those ideas get into reality, not just, so a lot of students have their ideas, but those ideas die. And they end up saying after 10 years down the line that, I had that idea, I had that dream, but there was no framework, there was no a system to actually make that idea turn into a real kind of a product or a real thing, right? And I think we all, as the educators in the education industry, different stakeholders, we have to drive it down. So is there anyone else who would like to contribute and speak?
Yes, Mr. that, this is Priyanka Singh from Manav Vishnu Noida. I would like to add here.
Sure, ma'am. Definitely.
As you're rightly saying that there are fewer cases where the ideas they get dropped in. So the basic reason behind dropping up these ideas in between the curriculum or the flow of the learning journey of a child, this happens because our system is report card oriented system, wherein we are looking into the assessment as the major benchmark of knowing about the child, that whether the child is excelling in education or not. So it's not about that. So we need to just change the system as well, and we need to have all these provisions in our system, that it's not only important because eventually what is happening, eventually they have to get back to their studies, eventually they have to justify the curriculum. So their own ideas, their all creativity that goes in between just has a break, generally has a break. So that is the reason. And I myself believe that consistency is the mother of all masteries. So until and unless this consistent behavior of going into the innovation, coming up with the creativity goes on throughout the journey, throughout the session, then only it is going to make some mark. Otherwise, I don't think so it's going to be very, we'll be able to work it out. If in case the system remains the same, the academically driven system, wherein we are just assessing a child on a one-day assessment and giving them the report cards, and then so eventually every parent is looking for that only.
No, absolutely.
So we need to reach out to the parents. We need to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset of the society. This report card or this report or the performance report of the child is not everything.
Very true.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think I totally agree with you on that. And definitely, I think, a lot of things have to be done. But, if we get into doing everything at once, then we are not going to reach means anywhere, right? So also means I think it's a long vision that we are on the path of, and we have to break it down into small steps and journeys and checkpoints. And I believe we all as educators in our individual schools can actually drive it down and take help from the experts, from the entrepreneurs out there to actually help drive down. And we as Think Startup, we have been doing it, and we would also love to actually do it in future as well. Okay, so I think we have reached to the end of the roundtable here. But before I hand over the stage to the co-founder of Think Startup, is there anyone else, the last chance to speak up and share any closing thoughts?
So one little thing which I just want to add on to Priyanka Singh is that, Priyanka ji, I just wanted to add up is CBSE, they're coming up with this. Definitely the report cards and everything are going to have all that as there in the rubric. They will definitely be putting it. If they put forward, they're going to add that into the rubric and where the assessment is going to take place. So I think let's be very positive. CBSE is going to do that. If they are introducing this into the curriculum, they're going to make it a part of their assessment policy. So let's be very hopeful that it starts up with that. Thank you.
Can I, Pooja ma'am, can I make one point? And I think what Priyanka has mentioned, I think I would request all of us to make that point, because unless that point comes from educators that make it part of the assessment rubric, when it happens, it can. So I think it's a great point, and it should come as our suggestion.
Very, very important, sir. It should be taken forward. And we'll be putting it, sir. We are going to have a feedback session with CBSE. They've already asked us. So we will be putting this point that please add on to give value to this type of a policy which is coming up, sir. So it will only be done if it is assessed.
Mr. Sarkar, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I'll be a little bit repeating what Madam Pooja has said, because being resource person on behalf of CBSE also, we are trying to reach out to teachers particularly. But yes, we are going to give the feedback to CBSE, but it is also equally important that on this type of platform, when we are deliberating on the assessment, if we have to reframe the assessment, first of all, at the school level, we have to change ourselves. That I think that as educator, as teacher, suppose in a third grade student, our report card, it is telling all scholastic and co-scholastic domain. Why can't we take some kind of this idea or innovation, particularly idea, that means innovation, it may be very, very big term for that small kid, but suppose a child is writing a poem, even on the display board, if it is coming. Like if I recall that during the lockdown, some of the students of class 7 standard, they tried to put up some digital wallpaper kind of thing. They use the Padlets, etc., etc. And then we motivated them, keep on doing, keep on doing. So what happened? Ultimately, they could come out with some kind of, digital magazine kind of thing. Okay, it was not that much good. That means if we compare with the standard digital magazine, but they have tried. So what in the initial days, the children, they are thinking, if we can motivate, if we guide them, and if they get some expert advice and guidance, you see, at times I feel that we may not be that much equipped to guide children in that direction. Assessment is one part. I hope, I think Madam Pooja also telling the same thing. We are very hopeful that some parameters, some rubrics, it should be added in that assessment part. Then as a school administrator, we can convince parents, because our position is such that parents feel that child should get good grades or marks. That is, I think we must not hide this fact. It is a reality. But at the same time, child is having some innovative mind. May not be all, but some of them, they are really brilliant and they come out with some kind of suggestion. Even in the school setup also, like when we have started the green school concept there, so some children, they came out with some kind of plantation idea. What we can get the tulsi, they brought some kind of saplings, they have tried to graft something there. So these are the idea, I think, that means we should nurture at the school level, and maybe it will be benefiting all the stakeholders. That's the experience I'm sharing with you. But I think assessment, I totally agree with it, and we'll be definitely giving that feedback to CBS. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I think that was also really insightful. And assessment also needs to be structured, and we can actually refine the process of the assessment over a period of time.
Siddharth,
Definitely.
can I speak something, Siddharth?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Yeah.
The stage is yours.
So see, I couldn't take part of full whatever you have discussed. I couldn't listen. But it will last for 10 to 15 minutes. I was listening and here those who are speaking here. So just a minute. Yeah. So see, whatever sir was telling right now, I have introduced Siddharji so many subjects here: gardening and retail management, marketing, in 6th to 8th standard and 9th standard. Even I'm introducing NCC. Whatever the assessment they were discussing, I'm doing it. But at the same time, teachers are facing a lot of a problem to complete the syllabus until if we modify this curriculum, we cannot assess our children. Once if you reduce curriculum, then only we can focus all these extra activities. Even I have introduced gardening. I told you, I developed nursery in my school. But I don't have a time. Children don't, only 5 periods I'm giving for English, 5 periods for maths per week, and 5 periods for science, and the rest I'm giving STEM education for innovation. Atal Lab I have introduced for giving period. Gardening I have given 1 period. Physical education is mandatory. That's also we are giving. And 3-sure we are giving. So that means innovation also we are working. We are working on their communication skill. We are working on all skills. But at the same time, we have to cover syllabus also. So do you think the children can be able to complete all these things successfully unless until if you work on reducing this syllabus? Otherwise, it is quite difficult. We are talking about skills. We are talking about something assessment, this, that. But unless until if you reduce curriculum, that is not possible to work on all these things. I'm feeling, I'm doing it in my school. I'm facing a lot of a problem, all these things. So I request you people, why don't you recommend it to reduce all the syllabus?
Fair point, ma'am. We've taken note, and I think I mentioned while I
Yes,
was
sir.
speaking.
Yes, sir. Please, please. We are on the line, and we are facing problem. Lot of a problem in the class. And see, yesterday I called the NCP people,
right
and
on the
they
spot.
told something,
Yeah.
but we don't have time to introduce all these things, sir. That is not possible, sir.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Siddharth, for giving me a chance to share my views. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Sir, would you like to add something before we wrap up?
Can we ask Shivani to add?
Yes, definitely.
I think a really good discussion has happened. The policies, of course, I think the first thing that is really heartening is to see that all of the educators here are actually saying that, yes, we need to do this, which itself is a big step. And thank you all for sharing your thoughts. It's going to be a long journey. We are hearing the challenges. We have been working in this space for the last 2 years and are currently offering multiple solutions to schools, whether it is curriculum from 6th to 12th grade for entrepreneurship education, helping schools set up entrepreneurship labs. But I think what we are hearing is there is a whole lot of more challenges that we need to address. And I think we are going back saying, how can we help schools with really rolling this out as a change management process, right? Because really what we are hearing from all of you is that's what it is going to take, whether it is empowering your teachers to support that kind of environment in the school, allowing them to mentor students, whether it is taking ideas from the students further through incubation labs, through helping with getting patents and getting the legal aspects done, or even getting funding for some of these ideas, whether it is about just sensitizing parents about the importance of this, or also on the side of policy around assessments and around reduction of workload on the students. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. We are going back with a lot of food for thought, and we will be reaching out to you again as we move through this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the speakers and the participants here in this roundtable.
On mute, Siddharth.
Yeah, okay. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, all the panelists, the co-founders of Think Startup, for being in this amazing journey of working with schools and different stakeholders of the education industry to drive the entrepreneurship education down, and also to solve the problems of the existing system, right? And means all the best. And also to all the principals for taking out time. I believe this was a holiday for a lot of schools, but still you had taken out your precious time. I think it's more than an hour, and I think I would really like to acknowledge that, and a really heartfelt gratitude to all of you for actually attending and contributing your thoughts. And we have actually made a note of all these points that you all have mentioned, right? And we would definitely be reaching out to you individually to work on these particular challenges and to help you, to actually structure it down so that this policy of national entrepreneur of the NIEPP, it can be driven down with less of a hassle, with less of a friction, and more easily to so that a student, even from class 3, if he has a dream, then that dream can more easily be converted into a reality than it used to a couple of years back or even now, right? So thank you everyone for being a part of this amazing roundtable. We would love to have another round of discussion very soon with all of you in group, or probably individually as well, or in person. And thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all.